Hey guys, Dr. Morse, injury experts. So J.J. McCarthy suffered a high ankle sprain in week 2 and has been working back from that for the past 4 to 5 weeks. Now, Carson Wentz has been really banged up in the meantime, but we just heard something today that was significant, and I need to elaborate on it. So in the London game on October 5th, he suffered a left shoulder dislocation. Now, there's a couple different ways to dislocate a shoulder, towards the back or towards the front. Now, what's important to understand is that the actual ball and socket is built like this. Now, this is his non-throwing shoulder, so he popped the ball out of the socket, hence a dislocation, which means you have to tear the labrum in order to do so. Sometimes the ball will pop back into the socket. Now, every time this gets popped back out, there's a risk of not only tearing the labrum more, but also what we call a Bankart, which is a fracture. Basically, if this is the rim, you can actually fracture the rim. So you actually come off, and now this is kind of hanging and dangling, and this can be permanently affect your shoulder. So when he suffered a dislocation in the London game, that's been confirmed. They then had the bye, so they had 2 weeks off. Heading into the Philadelphia Eagles game on, I think it was the 19th of October, J.J. McCarthy was listed as the third quarterback, meaning the emergency quarterback. The only way you can be an emergency quarterback is if you are medically cleared to return to play. Now, the team physicians are not going to medically clear him if he is not healthy enough to play. So putting him as the third quarterback was a coach's decision. Yes, they cleared Carson Wentz as well, and he played that game and he played well. Now let's fast forward to week 8 when he played on Thursday night against the Chargers. Again, McCarthy was the third string quarterback. Now we are 5 weeks out from that high ankle sprain. Yes, I understand McCarthy is a mobile quarterback, but 5 weeks is a significant amount of time for a high ankle sprain that's a grade 2. Usually they're between 4 and 6 weeks. Now, if they're surgically repaired, which we never heard that it would be possibly a little bit longer. So he should have been healthy enough to return. Now, they made the coach's decision to not only make Carson Wentz the starter, but also Max Brosmer the second string and McCarthy the third string. Now, if you watch the game, with every hit, you saw Wentz grimace. He was wearing a big black bandage or sling, we call it, basically a stabilizing device on the left shoulder. That told me he had a shoulder dislocation recently and that the shoulder was super unstable. Every time he took a hit, you saw him on the ground getting tortured. They had no shot to win that game with how poorly he played. Admirable that he actually played in the first place. But here's where I'm at with this. We just found out through this tweet right here that he actually had not only a dislocation, but also that Bankart fracture. The question is, when did he suffer that fracture? Was it against in London, whoever they played in London, I think it was the Browns, or was it against the Eagles, or did he suffer it against the Chargers? Now, the fact that the medical staff cleared him to play with a dislocated, unstable, and a fresh Bankart fracture is insane. But that also speaks to how, much of a dog he is, but also speaks to how poorly they feel that J.J. McCarthy isn't ready, and how they didn't have any interest in starting the healthiest, as far as we know, quarterback Max Brosmer. Now, unfortunately, Wentz, now the shoulder is so unstable, he has to have surgery. It's just not possible for him to function, and he's going to be miserable with every movement. He's reportedly, his wife is having a baby, and then he will have season-ending surgical repair. They will put screws and plates and so on and so forth, and it looks like this. And then if he wants to continue his career, he will be able to continue it next year because this is his non-throwing shoulder. But with that being said, this is a crazy situation, And you have to understand how banged up these guys get and how much they want to play and how much they want to finish. But this is significant because not only did the coach, not only did the GM, not only did the medical staff say, okay, we understand he has a dislocation and a fracture, but we're actually going to choose him over the other two quarterbacks. Now, McCarthy, even though he may not be 100% from his high ankle, is much healthier than Wentz was. Max Brosmer, I don't know anything about him, but I think he was, from what I remember, he's half decent, obviously. They chose to go with a fractured, dislocated Carson Wentz over a healthy Brosmer. What does that tell you? I just find this insane. And now the Minnesota Vikings are 3-4 at the basement and in the 12th out of 16th position. Now they have to start either Brosmer or McCarthy heading into week 9. Their bye is done. They don't have any more time. So now it's only going forward from here. But just an insane situation. I personally think they made a stupid decision. They put the risk, possibly risking Wentz's complete shoulder because they allowed him to play. The important thing to understand is as a physician, a team physician, you have to protect the patient from himself. And I feel he failed to do that. And that's where I'm going to leave it. If you like this, let me know. Thoughts, comments, concerns, drop them below. I made a ton of other videos heading into week 8 and then heading into week 9 in a couple days.